Upon entering the house, the police were met with a horrifying scene, something they had never witnessed before. A foul stench filled the home. The young woman's body had literally sunk into the couch and rotted down to the bones while she was still alive. Lacey Ellen Fletcher was born in 1985 in the small town of Slaughter, Louisiana, located near Baton Rouge. The town had only about 1,000 residents, where everyone knew each other. In such towns, nothing unusual usually happens, but this case made Slaughter infamous. Lacey was the only child of Sheila and Clay Fletcher. As a child, she was diagnosed with autism and perceived the world differently than other children. She struggled with concentration and socializing, and these issues only worsened with age. Lacey had difficulty in regular school and had few friends. Despite this, she was always described as sweet, cheerful, kind, and smiling. She also loved sports and exercised near her home. Her parents were well respected in the community. Her mother, Sheila, had once worked as an assistant prosecutor and later as the mayor's assistant. Her father, Clay, worked for a nonprofit charity helping people. They were active members of their church. No one could have imagined such a tragedy would strike their family. At 2:30 a.m. on January 3, 2022, Sheila called emergency services, reporting that her daughter wasn't breathing. Police and paramedics arrived to a shocking sight inside the home. Lacey's lifeless body was found on a leather couch, nearly naked. Her body had sunk into the couch up to her shoulders, submerged in her own waste, urine, maggots, and insects. Her skin was covered in red, spots, and ulcers. The flesh had rotted down to the bone and begun decomposing. She was slumped to the left side, her right arm near her neck, her eyes and mouth wide open, and her legs crossed beneath her. The stench was unbearable, and the sight was gruesome. The county coroner stated it was the most horrific case he had ever encountered, so disturbing that he couldn't eat or sleep for a long time afterward. The father showed no emotion while the mother feigned grief and cried. The couch was placed against a wall. To its right stood a gray dresser with neatly folded clothes. In front of the couch was a cluttered black table covered in lotion bottles, talcum powder, wet wipes, nasal spray, and other items. Nearby was a box of DVDs. Apparently, Lacey watched movies played for her. Rodent droppings were also found near the couch. The immediate question was, how could the parents let this happen? How could these seemingly respectable people neglect their own daughter? How could they live in such filth and stench? The young woman was so emaciated that at 36 years old, she weighed only 30 kilograms, 66 pounds. An autopsy revealed that Lacey had not left the couch for about 12 years. Her back and buttocks had turned black from prolonged immobility. She had tested positive for COVID, but that was not the cause of death. The medical examiner determined she died from severe medical neglect, leading to malnutrition, starvation, immobility, acute ulcer formation, and osteomyelitis. A purulent necrotic process in her bones led to sepsis. The coroner ruled her death a homicide. She likely died 24 to 48 hours before the 911 call. The parents claimed they had gone on a weekend trip and returned to find her dead. They said Lacey's autism had worsened after 9th grade, developing into Asperger's syndrome, forcing them to isolate her. She was then homeschooled and vanished from public view. Neighbors hadn't seen her in 15 years. Some newer neighbors didn't even know the Fletchers had a daughter. When asked about Lacey, the parents told people she was sick and couldn't leave home, claiming she had, locked-in syndrome, a rare neurological disorder causing full paralysis except for eye movement. However, no such diagnosis existed in her medical records. The last time she saw a doctor was at 16, when she was diagnosed only with autism and anxiety. The family lived reclusively, with no visitors over the years, so no one knew Lacey's true condition. After her death, Sheila posted on social media, "Mom and Dad love you so much." On May 2nd, 2022, Sheila, 64, and Clay Fletcher, 65, were arrested and charged with saying second-degree murder. They pleaded and not guilty, claiming Lacey was an adult who chose this life, that she liked being a recluse, never leaving the couch, even refusing to use the toilet, soiling towels instead. They insisted she never complained, so they didn't seek help. Sheila claimed she treated Lacey's ulcers, but their story was unbelievable. The girl was starved, septic, and rotted alive. First, they said she was paralyzed, then that she chose this life. For 12 years, they did nothing. Now they claimed she wasn't even sick. It was also suspicious that Lacey died while they were on vacation. There was no record of them ever seeking medical help for her. Just 2 days after arrest, May 4th, 2022, they were released on $300,000 bail each. A controversial decision. The DA argued they had no criminal history and were unlikely to flee. The couple played grieving parents, but the public wasn't fooled. Locals were outraged by their neglect. Their lawyer released a statement saying they didn't want to relive their pain through the media, adding, "Anyone who's lost a child knows the agony." But the comparison was grotesque. Other grieving parents don't starve their children to death. Lacey's parents could have helped her if they had sought medical care, but they seemingly chose not to. The prosecutor called her death murder by neglect and pushed for a full investigation. The key legal question, should this be classified as manslaughter, up to 5 years, negligent homicide, up to 40 years, or second-degree murder, life without parole? The prosecutor is demanding second-degree murder, arguing, "We don't treat animals this way. If a pet were in this state, we'd take it to a vet. This was their daughter." The trial is ongoing. Updates will follow. If you found this video informative, like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.